Thank you. Rupert, I love your quote. A wave, I'm sorry, a separate self that seeks happiness is like a wave seeking water.
Yes.
What I want to say is, get your take on this. A number of years ago, a very fine actor told me that personality, the word personality or person, is actually a combination of two Latin words, per, which means through, and sona, which means sound. And the derivation of that, of that word, goes back to the plays, early plays of the Greeks, where the actor would wear a megaphone mouth mask to project his voice through this megaphone that was attached to the mask. So that was through sound that the character in the play was embodied and expressed. And it sounds like what you're saying is that the sense of a separate person is a mask that we wear. And that what is behind that mask is this infinite, non-localized timeless awareness.
Yes, yes, exactly. King Lear is a mask that John Smith wears.
Yeah.
So the mask, there's not a problem with the mask itself. It is the means through which the play is enacted. If there was no mask of King Lear or Romeo or Hamlet, there would be no play.
Yeah.
John Smith would just stay peacefully at home. So it's not the mask that is the problem. The problem is when John Smith feels that he is limited by the mask. If the mask is that through which the play is enabled, there's no problem with the mask. It is the agency of the play. So our personalities, our individualities, our characters are not themselves a problem.
Yeah.
What becomes problematic is when the self that our personality expresses is believed and felt to share the limitations of the personality, to share the limitations of our thoughts, feelings, etc.
Yeah.
It's not the mask that is the problem, it's the self behind, the nature of the self behind it. All that is necessary is to recognize the nature of the self behind the mask.
So it's not a matter of getting rid of the mask.
No, the mask is just the particular conditioning of our body-mind.
Right.
So it's not the body-mind that is the problem. It's in whose service is it acting and relating? On whose behalf is the body-mind acting and relating?
Yeah.
That's the question. It's nothing to do with getting rid of the body-mind, disciplining the body-mind, changing the body-mind, purifying the body-mind. It's that the body-mind will become purified if the nature of the self behind the mask of the body-mind, so to speak, is recognized. The activities and relationships of the mask will gradually align itself with that recognition. So there will be a change in the body-mind, but the change will be an inevitable consequence of the recognition of the self behind it, as opposed to a change in the body-mind being a result of disciplining or changing the body-mind. There's absolutely no point disciplining and changing the body-mind if the self behind it remains temporary and finite.
Yeah. Yeah. So the point is that the path is not one of changing the mask.
Yeah, changing the mask is a consequence of the recognition of our true nature. Right. It is not the prerequisite for that recognition.
Yeah.
In the progressive path, the changing of the mask or the purification of the mask is considered a prerequisite to the recognition of our true nature. Yeah. That is what distinguishes the traditional progressive paths from the direct path, in which the changing of the mask is not considered a prerequisite to the recognition of our true nature.
Right.
The changing of the mask does happen, but it happens as a result of the recognition of our true nature.
And the mask then becomes an expression of the love, peace, and joy of the...
And the only thing that changes in the mask are those elements of it that were previously in service of the separate self. Only those elements fall away, but all the other elements, including all our own particular conditionings, remains, but they now remain in service of love, truth, beauty, as opposed to previously being in service of the separate self.
Yeah. That's so clear. Thank you.
So the character, far from being diminished by this recognition, the character is simply released from the prison of the separate self. And a character in whom this recognition has taken place flourishes.
Yeah.
We don't suddenly become a bland, whitewashed, characterless. Right. No, the character is liberated from the tyranny of the separate self, and it flourishes, whatever that means for each character.
Yeah.
Its true talents are then free to be fully expressed. Yeah. The character is free to go out into the world and to share itself in whatever way is unique to each character. Yeah. And each character has its own unique way of sharing itself in the world. So this is a liberation of the character. It's not a crushing of the character.
Right. Oh, it's a wonderful vision. It's beautiful. Thank you, sir.